more than 20 videos into my YouTube journey, and I'm beginning to identify as a YouTuber. Wow, I can't believe I am this far in. I actually don't know how many videos I'm in. I'm gonna have to start a tally because I'm losing count. But I know that I'd set out to do 100 videos, and I'm now more than a fifth of the way through, maybe a quarter of the way through. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm really identifying with this thing. So this is my channel, it's called Remy's Room. And here I talk about, well, I don't know yet. I don't know if I have a niche, I'm just enjoying creating. But at the moment I'm talking about things like my career in obstetrics and gynecology, how I balance that with motherhood, how I balance motherhood in general, juggling it all, can I find systems to make that better, and how I am going about starting my side hustles, because girly is trying to make it out of the corporate world and into fun, freedom and autonomy. So in this video, I want you to get to know me a bit more. So I put out a few feelers for Q&As and got very minimal responses. I mean, a girl's only got 100 subscribers, so I hope you enjoy the video. And while you're here, why don't you subscribe? Why don't you hit the like button? And why don't you hit the notification bell so you'll know when I post next? So a few quick basics about me in my get to know me video is that I am Remy. I'm an obstetrics and gynecology doctor. I've been a doctor for about 10 years and I work and live in the London area. I am married and my husband is also a doctor, and he is a general practitioner as well as a sports and exercise medicine doctor, and I will hopefully have him on this channel soon talking about how we juggle life as two doctors with two kids. We have two kids, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, two girls who are fun, demanding, exciting, and all the other things that having children throws up. I'm also one of 5 girls. Like, I've got 4 sisters who all live fairly close to me, and they're like my dream team community. And you may well have seen them on my Instagram page or maybe my TikTok. And I'm hoping one day you'll see them on this channel. And that's pretty much it. Like, other basics, I'm a Christian. I go to church most Sundays. It's a very important part of my life. And I am on a mission to redesign my life. I want to go from being an overworked, underpaid doctor to being someone who works less, has way more money, has more freedom, more free time, and time to spend with the people I've just mentioned, my community, and thriving. I'm going to read out the questions that I've gotten, and then I'll aim to answer them. And if during the course of this video you think there are questions I haven't answered, drop them down below, because I look forward to doing another one of these. So the first question is, what motivated me to start a YouTube channel? Well, I've been in this season of curiosity, searching, trying to figure out what it is I need to do next and trying to get clarity on that. And I've been listening to a few books. I came across Ali Abdul this year. I'd never heard of him before. And I was listening to his podcast quite a bit. And I listened to a specific podcast of him and Noah Kagan talking about how they both started their careers and their businesses. And then Noah Kagan mentioned the law of 100. And being a YouTuber, I actually have a video that I'll put here. It's something that I had considered for about 12 years, but never did anything about it. And obviously life gets busy, you get sidetracked, there are other things to do. And being a YouTuber just felt like an extra thing that I had no time for. And so Noah Kagan mentions this thing about the law of 100, and I was just like, you know what, Remy? Why not? Like, why the hell not? It's a curiosity, explore it, see if you like it. I then did the Ali Abdul part-time YouTuber course, the one that's only £1 or $1. And then I listened to that, and then in his videos or in his tutorials, he says, do 3 videos first, see if you like it, then do 7 and see if you can commit to it. And I'm proud to say I've done more than 20 and I really enjoy it, and I am committing to doing a video a week for 100 videos and then seeing what happens. Because obviously I want to get monetized, I want this to be a source of income for me, but I also want to use the platform to explore what a niche could be, what a business could be, and I'm very much at the beginning phase of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Related to YouTube, one of the questions I did get was, how am I editing my videos? So for my first maybe about 18 or 19 videos, I was doing it myself. For the last maybe 5 videos or so, I've now employed the service of an editor. And again, this was off the advice of one of my friends and coach, whose information I'll link down below, but also in response to something I'd watched on Ali Abdul's channel, where he has a video on how to make YouTube a 4-hour week job, right? And for me, that's really pertinent because I have a clinical role of about a 40-hour work week, if not more. I have a women's health education platform that I'm trying to give at least 5 hours a week to, and I'm trying to give YouTube 5 hours a week. And I cannot idea generate, script, film, and edit in 5 hours a week. I just can't. And some weeks I won't even have the 5 hours. So I thought, actually, it makes way more sense for me to just pay someone to do the editing bit, because the rest I can do myself, and the rest I'm learning from as well. Like doing the thumbnails, I'm like learning through. You'll see on my page I have no consistency because I'm trying to see what sticks, what fits, what resonates, what's easy for me to make, what feels natural to me. The scripting obviously has to come from me. The research, again, is something I'm actually enjoying. And those are the bits I'd rather hold on to. And following on from that, there was a book that I read very recently called 10x is easier than 2x. And they are very clear on the fact that you should outsource to something that takes 80% of your time, which is what editing was taking me, so that you can focus on 20%, because the 20% will make you better. So I hope that answers the question of how I edit. And the answer right now is I'm currently using an editor after having done editing myself for about 18 or 19 videos. Another question is what inspired me to pursue side hustling entrepreneurship alongside my medical career. So in the UK, if you're in the UK, you'll know that doctors have been on strike for over a year, and we're hopefully coming to the end of that. And the issues are largely around pay. And the pay for doctors in this country is quite poor in comparison to Australia, Canada, US, parts of the Caribbean even, and even parts of the Middle East. And so for me, where you live in a country where there's a cost of living crisis, inflation is going up, and you're thinking of ways in which you can make money for you and your family, medicine doesn't seem to have all the answers, right? But alongside that, I was getting to a place where I was just not being personally fulfilled from the role I was doing. I'm currently reading a book called The Gap in the Game, by the same authors as 10x is easier than 2x. And there is a lot of self-work to be done. Like, am I fantasizing an ideal life and therefore not enjoying the current life I've got in terms of my career? But that led me on a journey of discovery. Like, what do I want to do? Oh, I would just get a new job is what I thought. And then I was exploring the possibilities of working in medtech, working in consulting, working in anything that I could use my experience as a doctor in women's health or whatever in an alternative career. I was listening to podcasts. A specific podcast that I really enjoyed listening to was called Medic Footprints. I'll link that down below. And she's created a community for people who want to do stuff that's not medicine. And then I was like reflecting. I signed up for coaching. I'm starting some therapy. And one of the key things that kept coming up for me from what I want from my life in the future is autonomy, freedom, and fun, right? And my reasons for this are that I want control over my own schedule. And for my whole working career, I've been at the mercy of a rota and doing long days, nights, weekends without really any say. There are some workarounds, you can do swaps, whatever, but ultimately you're having to do those hours, right? Freedom. I don't have time freedom. I don't have location freedom. And that was something as well that I was like, actually, I want that from my career, right? And fun. I want it to be fun. I want it to be something that I genuinely want to wake up and do. Being a parent of 2 kids, I want my kids to want to go and play tennis in Europe for 2 weeks. And I can just say, yeah, I'll take you. Because I can just pick up the laptop and take them there and carry on working. Or, Mum, why don't we go away for the summer holiday? Why don't you go, I could go visit the grandparents in Nigeria. And I could be like, yeah, there's internet. I will take my laptop. I will take whatever, and I can go and work there. And it just dawned on me that that's not necessarily possible if you're being employed by anybody. So I was like, actually, entrepreneurship makes the most sense. Obviously, this isn't concrete because I am still a doctor and still trying to figure out ways in which that will work alongside my clinical career. Or if it will work at all. A question I get asked very often is, how do you do it all? How do you manage your time? So I am going to do a very in-depth video once I get my rota of how I'm going to schedule my life around my rota, around my kids, and how I will apportion time to other things. But as a general rule of thumb, I give about 40 to 60 hours. I know that sounds crazy, but my working week will take about 40 to 60 hours out of my schedule, right? And then I will then add on 5 hours if I can for the business, 5 hours if I can for sort of my personal brand. So that's like posting to LinkedIn, growing this YouTube channel. And those are the things that I will try and fit around. Obviously, I've got a husband, so I also need to make sure that we have special, specific time for ourselves and then time for the kids. And so for that reason, on Saturdays for me is a no work day. I try very hard to put the phone down, to put the phone away, and just, if I'm not at work, making sure that I'm spending my whole Saturday with the kids, as well as like the Sunday afternoons after church. So that's kind of how I try and be strict with my time, to make sure that I'm achieving balance in a way. The thing that I'm struggling to do is making sure that I'm strict with time for myself. Like, I need time for myself. And I've warned the family that over the next 6 weeks or so, I will be taking a full 24, if not 36 hours away in a hotel somewhere so I can rest. And I don't know what that looks like yet. Going on to the kids, a question that I've had asked, what is the best thing that having kids has taught you? And I would say that I was gung-ho obs and gynae consultant medical career until I was pregnant. And I think when I was pregnant, it just suddenly dawned on me that I had a very present family growing up. Like, I always saw my mum, right? And being a doctor, it just dawned on me that I'm just not going to see my kids as much. Like, that's just the thing. Like, they're going to have to get used to not seeing me. And even now, when I go and do a night shift, oh my gosh, the guilt. Mummy, don't go. Mummy, don't go. And it grips at my heart, right? But I know I have to go. I need to go and make money. I do to an extent really still enjoy my job. But having the children has taught me how much more freedom I want for myself, but also for them. When you have kids, oh my gosh, it's like a whirlwind of demand suddenly overtakes your life. And then you start to feel, I started to feel as if I had no time for me, or I had no me time. And I was like, well, actually something's got to give, and it's not going to be the kids, so it has to be my career in order for me to have time for me. And I don't even regret that, because I feel like there are other ways to achieve success, and you can have a very successful, thriving career and be a parent and not have to work 60 hours a week, right? There has to be grey. And I want to be a boss in the workplace. I want to be a killer mum. I want to have a really happy marriage. And I want to have a lot of me time, right? So something's got to give, and the career has to shift to make all of those things possible, in my opinion. What do you think about that? Like, how do you do it, right? Like, that's something I always really want to know. When I see women who are killing it, I'm like, how are you doing it? If you are a woman and you're thriving, drop me some tips below, because I want to learn. I want to know how to do it. I think the question I'll end on is, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in trying to redesign your life? And the answer from my perspective is impatience. I am impatient. Like, if I want something, I want it now, right? And so when this thought first came to me, I think it was like a year and a half ago, and I was like, in my head, the thing that was slowing down my progress to having my dream life was my clinical job. And that's not true, but that's how I saw it, right? So I was like super impatient, like, how can I make this thing come quicker? And then, thank God for time, over the time I've been like, well, no, actually there's so much more to be gained from my career. I still really enjoy it, but I do know that it may not necessarily have a place in the future that I want. And even now, I can't say for sure what's going to happen in the next year and a half or 2 years, but these are my thought processes. And I think for me, the impatience surrounding wanting my life to be different, I've found quite challenging. And I've had to do lots of like mental work, reading books, to just slow down, in the sense that my life is still worth living right now, right? And there are changes that I can make in my life right now that will make me enjoy my life in the future. And so examples of how I've done this is, I've got a video about creating the Dubai lifestyle in the UK. I'll put it up here. I felt that my biggest issue was not having enough money, right? So I was like, how can I get more money? I know that doctors get paid better in other parts of the world, so maybe moving to another part of the world will make my life better, and it will solve all my problems. What are my problems? My problems was having no time, right? So my biggest thing is wanting time freedom. And I feel I have no time because I'm working 40 to 60 hours a week. I have side hustles. I want to start a YouTube, and I have no time for myself. But how do I solve these problems with the time I have right now? And it was things like finding childcare, finding a reliable cleaner, putting systems in place that make you feel make my head feel less busy, and leaning on my community for help. So you know, my husband is very helpful, but actually asking my mother-in-law or my mum for help, my sisters for help, and making sure that I'm like asking for help so that I can get as much done as I want to get done, right? And even all those little things is like redesigning my life. Looking at the time that I do have, right? If I want to exercise, I could stop binge watching TV at night and just go to bed early and wake up and do a power hour, another video on that, and therefore have more time, do more effective work, and then feel like I'm progressing. So that's a very roundabout way to say that redesigning your life isn't a thing for the future, it's a thing for the now. Like, you have to make small changes in the here and now, because those will be the things that cause you to live a different lifestyle. And I believe once you get to a point where your lifestyle is very different from what it is now, unless you've got those habits and you've got those mentalities, like even me asking for help is such a mind shift. Unless you've got stuff like that in your future, you won't know how to enjoy it then. So I hope that answers that question. So I'm going to stop there now because I think I've spoke for quite a bit. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Why don't you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you have any other questions that you would love for me to answer? And I will get to them in my next video.